Hi, and welcome to 647, 6 stories for 7 a.m. because there's a famine of truth in our land. And this is your quick news fix. And the truth starts now. Well, let's go straight to the Dow Jones on Thursday, yesterday. Wow, Dow gives up 700-point gain, turns negative as NVIDIA fizzles. Rate cut hopes dim. Yeah, these are all things that could have been prevented, but we can't handle the truth, right? So stocks fell on Thursday as a market-wide rally sparked by blockbuster NVIDIA. Results and guidance gave up steam as investors lost hope that the Fed under Jerome, our buddy, would cut rates again in December, which he is indicating that he's not going to do. So let's just talk about this for a second. First of all, NVIDIA, the CEO is a CCP puppet. And this was, the $5 trillion company. We never heard anything like this before. It's just absolutely amazing. And he's saying he's going to do all this stuff with, on the AI platform with Altman and all of this. And the market is just, oh my gosh, this is like Tesla all over again, right? And no. And then what deflates their balloon? Not the real thing, the stupid thing, which is Jerome will not. He's been dangling this 0.25% reduction. And it's just ridiculous that Trump should have taken this guy out. I'm not sure what his long game is on this, but Jerome is hurting all of this, and it could have all been prevented if it had been handled differently with him. And there were plenty of ways to handle him. I don't know why they didn't. NVIDIA's reversal lower dragged the broader market down. Shares had gained 5% after the chip maker released better than expected quarterly results and an upbeat fourth quarter sales forecast. CEO Jensen Huang, the CCP puppet, said demand for its current generation Blackwell chips are off the charts and rejected the idea of an AI bubble, right? Because he doesn't want to see a whole ton of his wealth disappear. Adding to the downward pressure was a shutdown delayed September jobs report, right? So how do you measure jobs when the government's all shut down? You can't really do it accurately. And so Trump was already saying, we're not going to have an October jobs report. But it also delayed the September jobs report, which came out and showed that the Trump economy added 119,000 jobs for September, okay? That's way above what people were thinking. More than economists expected. Following the data, the latest Fed funds futures trading showed less than 40% odds that the central bank would cut for a third time. So 119,000 jobs should have been the reason for Jerome to go, let's drop it a full point. No, he's such a tool of the Democrat Party and the deep state that he's figuring, you know what, they're going to take care of me afterward. I'm going to do the thing that harms the American people the most and also harms Trump. He can't really point to anything great except this delayed job market report. It's disgusting the way these Democrats operate. They care nothing about the American people, the suffering of the middle class, none of it. All right, take two. We're going deeper into the NVIDIA thing, okay? Because you can't handle the truth. This is a YCHTT pop quiz. Here's the flip side of the CCP puppet. NVIDIA says there's no assurance of a final agreement with OpenAI despite a $100 billion pact. A pact means nothing in business. NVIDIA said it is in its quarterly financial filing that there's no guarantee that the company will finalize an agreement with OpenAI. There's no guarantee, but you guys couldn't shut up about it before. It ran the stock up. It's market manipulation is what it is. In September, the two companies announced a massive partnership that would include a $100 billion investment over time by NVIDIA into OpenAI. The comment in the quarterly report serves as an important reminder that there's a big difference between an announcement and a contract. There never was a contract. There was a pact. There was an announcement. There was a bunch of billionaire bloviating is what it was to manipulate the market. 2 months ago, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and OpenAI CEO Sam Spectrum Altman stood side by side in San Jose, California, to announce a historic agreement between the two leaders in artificial intelligence. NVIDIA would invest $100 billion over a number of years. A number of years. We can't tell you the number or even approximate it. It's all a little loose here in Billionaireville. Starting in 2026, as OpenAI's AI supercomputing facilities come online. It's all kind of loose, isn't it? The duo said the timing of the build-outs and the cost of each data center weren't disclosed. Apparently, a lot wasn't disclosed. But in NVIDIA's quarterly financial report on Wednesday, the chip maker reminded investors that there's a big difference between an announcement and a contract. There is no assurance that we will enter into definitive agreements with respect to OpenAI opportunity or other potential investments, or that any investments will be completed on expected terms, NVIDIA said in the risk factors section of its quarterly filing. In other words, go try to find it, right? The risk factors section. It's ridiculous that between Jerome and Huang and Altman, the fortunes of the stock market hang in the balance with these goofballs. It's unbelievable. All right, take 3. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, releases frame-by-frame images of engine separating during deadly UPS crash in Louisville, right? It's not that nobody knew this problem was there, right? They were just getting around to it. A critical mount that kept the left engine attached to the UPS flight that crashed in Louisville earlier this month failed only moments after the doomed flight broke ground. Yeah, it never got higher than 30 feet, thanks. According to a new report from the National Transportation Safety Board. The report includes stunning frame-by-frame photos of the left engine of the 3-engine McDonnell Douglas MD-11F separating from the plane and going up and over the wing and igniting a fireball, seen in a sequence of 6 extraordinary new images obtained by investigators. The 3 pilots of the UPS flight 2976 and 11 people on the ground were killed when the beleaguered jet sliced a half-mile-long debris field across a petroleum recycling facility and UPS warehouse, setting off a massive blaze of fire and black smoke visible for miles. The report highlights fatigue cracks found in the hardware attaching the engine to the wing and symptoms of overstressing. But more is still to come as the agency conducts its full investigation. The UPS freighter was a 34-year-old jet and had been in the process of being phased out by the cargo carrier. The FAA ultimately grounded all MD-11 and MD-11F aircraft until each underwent a thorough inspection. UPS has 26 other MD-11s in their fleet, a company spokesman told CNN. Not taking care of business here. All right, take 4. Larry Ellison discussed axing CNN hosts with the White House in takeover bid talks, right? So this is Trump working with Larry and his son to buy out all this leftist media and own them, right? And center them. So senior White House officials have discussed internally their preference for Paramount Skydance, right? That's the company that Larry and his son runs it, and Larry's the major stockholder, to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in recent weeks. And one official has discussed potential programming changes at CNN with Larry Ellison, the largest shareholder of Paramount. The discussions, according to people familiar with the matter, come as Paramount portrays itself as the best bid for Warner Brothers Discovery after the company announced last month it was open to offers because it would have an easier time getting through regulatory review. They know Ellison's got all the cash and he's tight with Trump, and Trump's going to grease the skids, okay? That's the "you can't handle the truth" translation. Ellison often speaks to connections at the White House. Yeah. In at least one of the calls, engaging in a dialogue about possibly axing some of the CNN hosts whom Donald Trump is said to loathe, including Aaron Burnett and Brianna Keilar, the People said. The conversation also touched on floating names to replace Burnett and possibility of running CBS assets like its flagship 60 Minutes program on CNN airtime. Proposals that have animated the White House, the People said. The discussions, described by People on the condition of anonymity because the issue is sensitive, was characterized as informal, since Ellison does not have a formal role at Paramount. Right. He just owns the majority of the company. Right. He doesn't have a formal title. Still, he holds a major ownership stake in the company, which is run by his son, David Ellison. Spokespeople for the White House and CNN declined to comment. The elder Ellison, Oracle, and Paramount did not respond to repeated requests. I wonder why. The behind-the-scenes lobbying efforts to position Paramount as the frontrunner, especially with the Trump administration, underscore the Ellison's intense interest in acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery and the White House's interest in seeing its preferred bid succeed. So Trump knocks out CBS, CNN, all his enemies. Man, if you're a lib, you are staring at the ceiling at night. What's going to happen to us? We used to control all the narrative. Now they're buying the entire apparatus. It's too good. It's too good. All right, take 5. Dems try to destroy Lindsey Halligan. Okay, this was their big shiny object they were waving all over around to say, oh, he's definitely going to get off because Trump put this beauty queen bimbo in who doesn't know anything and blah, blah, blah. Well, apparently that's not the case, okay? But they will try to destroy anybody that they need to free up one of their idols, and Comey is one. Nobody stretched further or harder to keep Hillary out of jail. So interim U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan is defending her handling of the grand jury proceedings, which resulted in 2 criminal charges against fired FBI Director James Eagle Scout Too Tall Comey in the wake of critiques from a magistrate judge, dirtbag, and probing questions Wednesday from the federal judge presiding over the case, right? So Halligan, who was selected by Trump in September to serve as the top prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office, in the Eastern District of Virginia. And by the way, the reason they hate her is because she was Miss Colorado or something. I don't know. She's a beautiful woman and she's a smart attorney. Okay, he's not going to put a jerk up there. And she's proving that she's a smart attorney. And when you hear the actual facts of this, you can't believe that they're even trying to make a story out of it, right? But because she's a beauty queen, they think that's their opportunity to destroy her, right? There's no beauty queens on the left, trust me. Halligan was selected by Trump in September to serve as the top prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia. Pushed back on multiple criticisms in Wednesday evening court filings, telling the federal judge that the grand jury was provided the proposed indictment, deliberated, and determined that the probable cause existed to believe that the defendant, Comey, had committed the crimes charged in 2 counts, and claiming that the magistrate judge had misrepresented her comments before the grand jury and that his opinion attacking the Comey case should be set aside. So what exactly is that? She brought forth an indictment with 3 charges, and she presented that to the grand jury. They have no problem with that part of it, okay? The grand jury looked at all 3 charges and said, yeah, we're only going to grant you 2. We think the 3rd one is weak, so take it out. So Lindsey took it out, reprocessed the documents showing that there are 2 charges in the indictment. And the grand jury was in the lead on all this. And the Dems are now trying to say, oh my God, she presented the document again and it didn't have all 3 of the charges. Yeah, it didn't, because the grand jury ruled out one of them. Okay, it was not her doing a bad job. It was her absolutely straight up with the grand jury saying, okay, you don't want the 3rd charge, I'll take it out, and then I'll reprocess the documents and give them back to you with 2 counts. And what do the cheating, lying Democrat lawfare bastards decide to do is say, she made a huge mistake. Now the grand jury isn't seeing the documents that reflect the 3 charges. I hope you're not lost on this. The grand jury said, get rid of the 3rd charge. The grand jury was up to speed on the whole thing. There was no neglect. There was no malfeasance. There was none of that. The only malfeasance is on the part of these leftist, deep state lawfare judges. The DOJ's 2-count indictment, approved by the federal grand jury in Northern Virginia in late September, stemmed from allegations that Comey misled the Senate during his testimony in late September 2020. He lied to their faces under oath when he reiterated his May 2017 denial that he never authorized a leak of information. We know that's a lie. And by the way, who's publishing all this? The New York Times. And does the New York Times have a reason to be getting a little squeamish here? They should, because Comey went to his Columbia professor buddy, Professor Richmond, a law professor who obviously doesn't have any moral compass, and he took the leaked documents straight to the New York Times, and they published them, okay? So who's got some jeopardy here? I'm sure the Times would claim, hey, we don't, people bring us things, blah, blah, blah. No, this is all inside baseball, nasty crap that you're not supposed to do. So when he reiterated his May 2017 denial that he had never authorized a leak of information to the media about the Trump-Russia investigation or Clinton-related investigations, when the DOJ says he in fact authorized his friend, confidant, and special government employee, Dan Richman, he's even paying this guy to do this stuff with our taxpayer money, Dan Richman, to leak to the media about the FBI's Hillary Clinton investigation. Not to the media, to the New York Times. The indictment also alleged that Comey had obstructed Congress by lying to the Senate. So this district judge, Michael Nachmanoff, is casting dispersions on Lindsey Halligan, calling her a puppet and a stalking horse. And if anyone's a stalking horse, it's Nachmanoff. He's a stalking horse for the deep state left, accusing Halligan of being a stalking horse for Trump. So it's all ridiculous. And it's all just trying to destroy this young woman. She's 35 years old. And maybe some of you were saying, what's a stalking horse? Okay, so might as well make it a teaching moment, right? That's what I used to do, is teach. So stalking horse is something that was a part of hunting technique way back in the day. You trained a horse to walk very slowly toward the game that you wanted to shoot, and you hid behind the horse. So you're walking slowly, the horse is walking slowly, you're slowly getting closer and closer, and then bang, you nail it. You have to train a horse to do that, and it's a specialty. It's called a stalking horse. So who's the stalking horse here? Is Lindsey a stalking horse? She's getting closer and closer to nailing Comey, and Trump's behind her, and he's really the one calling the shots? That's the inference. And there's no proof of that at all, okay? But what about Michael Nachmanoff? Is he a stalking horse for the deep state? Is he just coming in and casting dispersions on this woman as a judge? He's not supposed to do that. That is not ethical behavior from a judge, but he's being pushed from behind by the deep state, who don't want Comey to be put under duress, right? Because he could give up a lot. He'll start wheeling and dealing once he fully understands he's not getting out of this. All right? So stalking horse is a part of our vernacular in business now. Okay? If you look it up, it's called a stalking horse bid, right? And it's when a company goes into bankruptcy and somebody wants to make a bid on that company, but if the company knows who it is, they won't accept it because, you know, it's somebody that they've had an antagonistic business relationship with. So they send somebody else in as the stalking horse to go, oh, I might like to buy the company and I'll offer this. And then they get to a floor bid that is at least being discussed. And then the other person comes out and goes, all right, you said you'd accept that. I'll buy it for this. So enough about stalking horses, Chuck. Shut up. Okay. I want you to know these things, right? So take 6. This is You Can't Handle the Truth Again. This is the left trying to go, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll get inside MAGA and we'll mess them up. We'll divide them. We'll get them biting one another. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to use the rise of the Sex and the City conservative, right? Because all of us MAGA folks, we just couldn't get enough of Sex and the City, right? I watched maybe 3 minutes and could not stand it. But every blue city goofball liberal that I know loved the thing, worshipped it. When the movie came out, they all dressed like those chicks. It's a sickness. Okay, what does it mean to be a MAGA woman in 2025? Well, do you really think you're going to find out from The Atlantic? Well, here's their bid to say, watch these fools take the bait. Here we go. One night at a party in an East Village speakeasy, a pair of 20-somethings high on youth and rail liquor, right? They don't have enough money yet. They can't have the call liquor. They're drinking the rail liquor in the well, right? Made their way to the bar's single occupancy bathroom. We know we're in a swanky place. It's a unisex bathroom. There's no MAGA people that do this. This is all blue city BS. But anyway, I digress. They're in a single occupancy bathroom and proceeding to go at it. I know this because as I waited outside, the exuberant young man inside began to film the encounter. Well, MAGA people they're constantly filming themselves having sex. We're known for the red hats, nothing else on, and filming ourselves and putting it on X because What? We're reprobates? No, it's you guys. You're the ones that do this crap. All right, so the bright light of his phone had reversed the effects of the bathroom's one-way mirror to reveal a pantsless youth with a deeply unfortunate broccoli haircut and a young woman in a Make America Hot Again cap. When I mentioned the encounter to the event's organizer, Raquel De Bono, she clapped her hands and squealed, "I told you people find love at my parties." This is so MAGA. They nailed it. I'm buying this. De Bono's path to the party planning happened in her telling because she was bored. The MAGA gatherings she'd attended were stuffy. So last year, she started throwing parties under the auspices of a new movement, Make America Hot Again, to attract fun, sexy conservatives. Not ashamed to say, there's very few fun, sexy conservatives. The kind who might enjoy, say, low taxes and public fornication. Well, there's a ton of that in MAGA. You can read about it all the time. I have come to think of De Bono, a 29-year-old lawyer turned influencer. Is that a MAGA profile? I don't think so. As MAGA chic, a Chanel-wearing representative of the Barstool Sports corner of the womanosphere. She finds the president hilarious and supports his crackdown on illegal immigration, but she also believes that casual sex, abortion, and gay marriage are fine. Literally, do whatever you want. I don't care, she told me in one of our many conversations. I found De Bono fascinating because her attitude is so at odds with those of the more socially conservative women in her political party. It's not her political party. Women who like to advise their peers to prioritize starting a family over having a career. Oh, sacrilege. For example, and who talk about the importance of submission in marriage. It's the Handmaid's Tale. Yikes. And who might not, in other words, be so chill about a couple of sloshed singles getting it on in a bar bathroom. De Bono and women like her have set off an angry debate. This is an angry debate for us in MAGA. Hey, am I missing out on something? No, I don't know that that's us. I'm all confused now about MAGA. I don't know if I want to be MAGA if this is MAGA. Did anyone take that bait? I don't know anyone who takes that bait. Okay, this is too stupid. An angry debate about which kinds of women are in fact welcome in the MAGA tent. Here's a clue, Miss De Bono. Get the F out of here. Okay, we know what you're doing. Your job is to split MAGA. These chicks are not MAGA. They are spike cells, right? They are spike cell MAGA. They're faux MAGA. And it's the Atlantic smarmy way of backhanding true MAGA. Submission and merit. Have children instead of a career. What a bunch of knuckle draggers. Except that they have so much political power that you have to attempt this kind of crap. Nobody screwing in unisex bathrooms in blue city bars is remotely MAGA. You people are ridiculous. But you can't help it. You're reprobates. That's why we study you in the Advanced Reprobate Mind series. So broken-minded people will come up with these ideas, and unfortunately, they get paid for it. Liberals read it and they go, oh my gosh, what a wonderful trap. MAGA will be killing one another before the weekend. Sorry, not happening. Anyway, here's what is happening. You're going to like us. You're going to share us. You are going to make comments. You're going to push us out to your network. But most important, you made it through the week. All 5 days. This is the last one. Many of you are already gone. Okay? Talk about white privilege. Oh, I'm shocked. But anyway, I know a guy, and he blesses a lot of people. And I have evidence of it this week. And some of the people can't even acknowledge it. But I know because they're on my prayer list. And I ask him all the time. And I see the results. And the results absolutely, profoundly inspire me. And so I'm inspired to ask the great God of the universe to stretch out his arms and bless each and every one of you as you go through the weekend. So God bless you, and thank you for being with me all week. Can't believe it. What is wrong with you? Okay.